Morning.
Hello, guys. Good morning, everyone. Please turn it on. Everyone with the camera on, we're about to start the class. This is the first class of 2 for the unit 411, write complex documents. All right. So let's just wait for a couple of minutes for the rest of the students to join. But it is mandatory to have the camera on. So just bear that in mind, please.
Hello, Santi. Yeah, I will turn it on in like 3 minutes.
All right. I appreciate that. Cool. All right. Thank you, Sabrina, for letting me know. Still, try your best. Guys, this unit 411 in Axcelerate, you need to go to Axcelerate and you need to open the lesson for this unit. The code, again, is 411, write complex documents. All right. So let's do that. Now, meanwhile, I will tell you why this unit is important. All companies, regardless if they are small, regardless if they are big companies, they need to have companies' documents. They need to have documentation. That documentation is used for many, many purposes, different purposes. One of them is to communicate companies' decisions to employees. Another one could be communicate companies' advancements to stakeholders. Another one could be to communicate policies and procedures to suppliers, to vendors, to people and organizations that are working with your company. Also, any marketing and advertising communication as well needs to have a format, needs to have an objective, and that has to be defined by the company, not by you. So we need to have documentation. That documentation as well, and with this I finish the introduction, could also take the form of something that is called work instructions. Work instructions. What is a work instruction? It's a document that will tell people how to perform a task, and is usually very, very helpful when you are giving training to new employees. All right? So we need to be prepared to write documents. Now, we call these complex documents, and the reason we call these complex documents is because there is liability behind those companies, behind those documents, which means that what you write on those documents is going to be used by suppliers, by employees to their advantage if they need to. So you need to be very, very careful when writing business documents. Therefore, we call this writing complex documents. All right? So that is the introduction to the class. In this first class, we are not going to do assessments. In this first class, we are not going to do observations. That is for the second class, next week. This class only for you to prepare for those assessments. This class only for you to understand the topic. Only for you to understand the topic. So this class is more a lecture than anything else. But of course, if you have any question, if you have any comment, if you want to say something, please go ahead. All right, so everybody in the lesson, because we need to use the lesson as the benchmark, as the baseline for this class. All right, can I confirm that you guys have the lesson in your computer now?
I'm on my way. Just like turning on the
Remember,
wireless.
we need the lesson because you need to click on the next buttons to complete the lesson. So you need to do this with me, guys. Go to the lesson in Axcelerate for us to start working on this. I will give you 1-2 minutes for you to get there. Orhan, are you there? Orhan. Okay, Orhan, it is possible for you to turn your camera on, please. That is appreciated. Maria, welcome to the class. This is your last unit, by the way. So the end of a journey for you. Maria, thank you. This class is about writing complex documents. We need to be prepared to write business documents, right? Business documents. What is the most important business document ever? Ever, the business plan. That is the most important business document. All right, and then we have a plethora of documents. One of them, policies and procedures. Another one could be work instructions. You know, instructions that people follow when they complete a task. Another one could be marketing communications, emails, campaigns, and so on. So everything that has the signature of a manager, everything that has the logotype of a business is a business document. It's not a personal document. I just want to clarify that, all right? We are not talking about personal documents. We are talking about business documents, and I want you to learn today how to write business documents. That's it. That's it. Is that clear? Now, bear in mind that this is very, very delicate because everything that is written in that business document could be used by someone else, an employee, a partner, a supplier, a customer, even a customer, to their advantage against you as a business, because it's written. So if that is written, you are liable. Example, in Australia, you guys know the company Woolworths, yeah? Pretty well. If you go to this is true, believe me, because I have worked with that company. This is true, and probably you have experienced it. If you go to the supermarket and it's written a price, let's say $5, and when they scan it, the product, when they scan the product, it says $7. The business will give you the product for free because they made a mistake and they don't want to be accountable for that mistake. So they will tell you, yeah, you get the product for free. Why? Because the pricing is written that entitles the concept of a business document. Has to be approved by someone. Another example, you go to the website and the website goes and say, we are open Saturdays. And you go to the shop, to the restaurant that Saturday, and the restaurant is closed. You have the right to raise a complaint against that misinformation. Another example, if you buy a product and the product literature, which is a business document, is telling you the product will do A, B, C, And then you try the product, and the product, you buy the product, and the product only do A, B, not C, the business is accountable for that misinformation. I just want you guys to understand that this is delicate. If we write something that has the signature of a manager or the logotype, the branding of a business, that means that is a business document, especially if that document is published on the web. So be very careful with it. So for us to avoid complications, the first thing that we need to do is to plan, to prepare for us to write that business document. So what we need to do? We need to get permission to collaborate, participate in the writing of that business document. Who is going to give us the permit, the permission? The manager. So we need to receive a brief from the manager. The manager needs to tell us what is the purpose of that document. What is the objective of that document? What is the structure of that document? What is the communication channel that is ideal for that document? Our manager, our supervisor, our director needs to tell us that, information. However, guys, this is what really matters. Especially in this profession, marketing and communications, believe me, you will find out that plenty of times you know more. You know more about marketing. You know more about advertising. You know more about business management than your manager, than your supervisor. And I'm going to tell you why, and this is true. In Australia, marketing is not seen yet as a serious profession. Seriously. And a lot of people that is working in marketing and communications, they don't have titles. They don't have education in marketing. They don't have any preparation in business communications marketing whatsoever. But, I don't know, in Australia, there is plenty of opportunities. All right? We are talking about a country of 25 million people. All right? So the demand is extremely higher compared to the offer. You know, like if you try the same in a country like Mexico, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. The offer is huge compared to the demand. So in a country like Mexico, if you get a job in marketing, it's because you are really good. You understand what I mean? Or the same happens in Sao Paulo. We're talking about a city of 20 million, a city of 20 million people, Sao Paulo in Brazil. Basically the same population of Australia. So the offer of people knowing, having titles in marketing is huge compared to the demand. So companies, they have the luxury to choose the best people. In Australia, is the opposite. Is the opposite. In Australia, it's not about if you have a title. It's about if you apply for the role. Seriously. Or it is about if you know someone in the company. So you will find, believe me, that a lot of times you have more preparation, you have more education, you have more titles, you have more experience than your manager, than your supervisor. So, is that understood what I mean? All right, now that you understand that your manager needs to approve that you write a business document anyway. And the manager will tell you, Maria, go and write a policy. Maria, go and write a business plan. Maria, go and write an advertising campaign. Maria, go and write an email. Maria, go and write a memo. Maria, go and develop a communication for our suppliers. Whatever it, go and write a work instruction. Go and write a job description because we want to publish something on seek.com.au. That's what they will tell you. And then you will say, no. Unless you give me an structure, an objective, and the output that I need to produce. You give me instructions, you explain to me what I need to produce, and then I do it. And likely your manager will tell you, look, I don't know either. And then you will say, look, a business document means that we are liable for whatever we write there. We are liable. So we need to do this properly. I'm going to help you then. So I just want you guys to understand, the first part of the class is to prepare ourselves for us to write a business document. Is not to write the business document, is to prepare. All right? So for us to prepare, we need to ask questions. We need to ask questions to who? To our manager. We discussed about this last week as well, previous weeks. It's all about asking questions. It's not about answering questions. All right? So you need to be prepared to ask questions to your manager. First of all, manager, what is the purpose? What is the objective of this document that we want to write? If the manager doesn't understand what is an objective, then you need to explain what an objective is. An objective is what we want to achieve with this document. Do we want to convince someone? Do we want to persuade someone? Do we want someone to reject something? Do we want someone to leave? Do we want something to stay? Do we want someone to endorse our business? Do we want someone to write a review of our business? Do we want someone? What is the purpose of it? And by when we want that person, that company to do so. So that is the objective, right? But then we need to say, all right, good. Now we know why we need to do it. Why? Why? The objective is the why. Guys, I don't want to get too metaphorical here, but in business, remember that even though this project, this class, this program is marketing, I told you this already. This is business. This is not marketing. Business is macro, marketing is micro, right? So you always need to keep the macro concept, which is I am learning business. I am a businesswoman. I am a businessman. That's why you need to keep in. I know marketing, of course, because that's part of my program. I know communications. I know advertising. I know promotion. I know design. I know content creation. I know social media. I know digital. I know software. But that is complementary to the macro. What is the macro? We are learning how to participate in a business environment. All right. So, first of all, what is the objective? Then what is the structure? What is the structure of that document? And usually, we should start with an overview of the document, an executive summary of the document, a short explanation of what that document is for. If we don't have that overview, we cannot do anything else, right? So the structure will give us that overview. The structure will give us the body What is the detail of that document? The structure will give us the output and the conclusion. All right? Once we have that, all right, cool. Now we can go one step further and develop the document and write it and create it, develop it. It's not planning anymore. Why is not planning anymore? Because we already planned for it. We already asked the right questions to our manager. What are the right questions? Manager, what is the objective? What is the structure? What is the output? See it. And if your manager is not ready to answer those questions, then you need to work with your manager for both of you to agree on what is the objective, what is the structure, what is the output. And if nobody agrees, it's going to be a mess. You will be liable. You may be in big trouble because someone could take that against your business. In countries like USA, consumers are so used to take advantage of this, are so used that they will do everything. There are lawyers in USA, and the only purpose of those lawyers is to represent customers that find an issue, a misplacement, a misunderstanding, misinformation in business documents. If you have a car and you read the literature and the car says, with this car, you will drive, I don't know, you will drive 100 kilometers and you will consume 8 liters of fuel. And that's what you say, what you see in the literature. And then you say, and then you do the testing and you find out that no, actually, if you drive 100 kilometers, the consumption will be not 8 liters, it will be 10. That is a problem for the company. Not in Australia. In Australia, that is not the way we do things. But in other countries, this is very sensitive. Therefore, you need to be used to the global aspect of the profession. Very, very careful. All right. So once you have the objective, once you have the structure, once you have the output, then you develop. Then you develop that document. Then you have it. And then you publish it. And then you communicate it. And then you finalize it. All right, this is done. And then you review what amendments could be done for the next version of that document. All right, so this class is all about planning complex documents first, then how to draft complex documents, and then how to finalize complex documents. For the next 20 minutes, we are going to be talking only about how to plan. All right? How to plan complex documents. So keep that in mind. We are right now in a block. What is the name of this block? Planning. We finish planning and then we move to drafting. We finish drafting and then we move to finalizing. Planning, drafting, finalizing. Is that clear, guys? So the first step in the planning block, is to understand who is your audience, who will be reading, who will be consuming that business document. That is the first part of the planning. Determine who is your audience. What is the purpose of the document? What are the requirements of that document? The requirements of that document according to what? according to something that I have said to you million times. According to the company's what?
Objective.
Okay, objective, but the objective could be something that is,
The mission.
yeah, okay, cool, of course, everything. That's a good answer as well. Every objectives is something that we want to achieve with those documents. Okay, mission is the reason why we exist. So everything that we do has to be pointing, aligned to that mission. Not pointing, but aligned to it. Everything that we do, Maria, has to be helping us to achieve those objectives, those visions that we have, of course. But I have told you in many different ways that everything that we do in business needs to follow, needs to be accordingly, needs to be connected with the company's
Business plan.
Yes, 100%. That is correct. The business plan.
Values.
Getting there. But it's even more important because it's written, is something that we don't change easily. Guys, I want you guys to values are good.
The mission.
The liability legislation.
Very close.
The mission.
No. Yeah, I mean, no, sorry. Yes. But that is not what I'm looking for. All of that is correct. Everything that we write needs to reflect our values. Of course, everything that we write needs to help people to understand our mission. Of course, everything that we write needs to help us to achieve our vision. Of course, all of that is correct. But what I'm trying to get across is that we cannot write anything without having a master document that will tell us what we can write, what we cannot write, how we write it, how we don't write it, what is the name of that benchmark, the company's policies and procedures. All right? Companies' policies and procedures. Guys, good companies, they have a policy for everything. Good companies, they have a policy for how people can use social media. Good companies have policies for how people are recruited in that company. Good companies have policies for how people is promoted in that company. Good companies have policies for health and safety. Good companies have policies to deal with suppliers because those policies give us the framework for us to work. Policies and procedures. So when we write business documents, there is no exemption to that rule. When we write business documents, there should be a policy and a procedure for us to write business documents. That policy may tell you exactly what I just explained. What is the objective of the document? What is the audience of the document? What is the structure of the document? What is the output, the channel that will be used for that document to be published? So, again, we are in the block of planning. In this block of planning business documents, what we need to have in mind first is who is the audience? Who is the audience? And why this is important, guys? Because some companies, they have such a diverse audience. And other companies, they have a very narrow, specific audience. Example, a company like Woolworths, do you think they have a very general audience or they have a very specific audience? What do you think?
General.
It's huge. I mean, people that go to Woolworths, they could be kids. You can have a kid buying from Woolworths, no problem. No problem. And you can have someone that is 99 buying from Woolworths. You can have someone that speaks Spanish or Italian or Greek or English buying in Woolworths. You can have someone that is handicapped, someone that is not handicapped. You may have someone, I mean, the diversity is huge. Therefore, you need to take that in consideration. Another example. If you are working for the Melbourne or the Sydney City Council, are you guys in Melbourne or Sydney? Mostly in Melbourne, yeah? Guys, do you think that the audience in Melbourne is diverse, is general, or is very narrow?
It's diverse.
Crazy diverse. You have Muslims, you have Christians, you have people from Africa, you have people from Italy, you have people from all over the place. And that's why sometimes, and it should be the way, but you go to the council and you will find information in English, but also you will find information in Arabic, but also you will find information in Italian, Greek, and so on. Why? Because they are trying to convey that message to a very large population. But if you are working for a company that is developing micro semiconductors for the aviation industry, and this company is developing, I don't know, ultra secret, ultra advanced technology for aviation, is that audience general or is very narrow?
Narrow, of course.
Only few people will understand what is written there. And it's completely okay. It is completely okay because the audience that will be consuming that business documentation is very specific, is very well prepared to understand those topics. It's not for everyone, and that is okay too. You know, like that's the point. It's like my audience in this class is very general, you know. I have people from all over the world, people that have different goals, different aspirations, different reasons why to be in this class. People that are very, very aware of marketing, people that is working in marketing, people that has never worked in marketing. So my audience here in this classroom is very diverse. I need to approach business communications in a very open way, in a very open fashion. All right. So that's why we need to understand that before we write business documents. So when I was writing the content of this class, I was thinking about you guys. I was thinking about the audience. How can I explain this to an array of different people with different aspirations, different journeys? So the audience first. Then, what is the purpose of the communication? I told you, when it comes to objectives, of communications, what are they? Give me one objective of communication. Why you communicate to someone? Why?
To express your ideas.
Yeah, but in reality, that is not the case. Unless we are very, very egocentric. Like if we are talking to someone, if we are communicating to someone, just because we have the need of express our ideas, then we are not really looking at this from the business perspective. All right. From the business perspective, though, when we communicate something to someone, what usually are the objectives? Objective number one.
To engage.
Good, but engaging is not, engaging is like a channel. You need to engage first in order to achieve what is really.
Sell.
Yeah, getting there. But guys, the reason you communicate to someone in business, I'm not talking family, I'm not talking love, business, is to convince someone. That's it. The first one is to convince. In business, to convince someone to buy, okay? To convince someone to join the gym, okay? To convince someone to come to the class, okay? To convince someone to have the camera on, okay? It's business. That is the objective number one in business, to convince others. What is the objective number two? If you cannot convince, at least you can
Inform.
then persuade, all right?
Product,
What is that?
productive.
Sorry, I don't get it, Sudarat. Can you repeat it, please, or write it in the chat?
Product,
Product, the product,
yes.
to communicate the benefits of the product, okay. Okay, to communicate the benefits of the product, that is a really good objective too. To persuade, to inform, good one, Maria, as well. So we need to define that objective, all right? So first one, the audience. The second one is the objective, all right? And then we need to understand the requirements according to the business policies and procedures, the requirements. For example, if you are writing a business document for a, I don't know, for a politician, for government, for the Congress, for legislation, for a lawyer, that business document has to be very comprehensive. It needs to cover every single potential aspect that could be used against you. All right? But if you are writing business documents for social media, for people to make quick decisions, probably that business document will be very, very short. So the structure is important to be defined as well. All right? So that will give us the format, that will give us the style of the document. Then we need to establish what is the method and the frequency of the communication. Then we need to develop an overview of that document. And then we need to develop a logical sequence of how the information will be prompted, will be deployed in that document. All right? That's it. I know it's a lot of information. But let's go to the lesson for a second for us to check that. Just give me 1 second. All right, so I'm going to share with you guys today's lesson, all right? So this is the class, write complex document. That's it. All right. So what is the overview? You see, look, even in this class, we have an overview. You see how important this is. This is real. Here we have an overview. This is telling you what the class will be about, more or less. So what is the overview? In today's business world, writing complex documents is an essential skills for marketing and communication students. It's essential. It's not negotiable. You need to be ready to write business documents. Now, this class, this lesson, whatever, aims to provide a comprehensive guide to plan. Look, plan first, plan, structure second, and write the complex documents that aligns with organizational policies, procedures, and requirements. Look, we already talked about this. So what topics will be covering in this lesson? First of all, we need to determine the audience. We need to find out what is the purpose, the objective. What are the requirements of the document? Now we say, when writing a complex document, it is important to identify the audience and the requirements. Understanding, the audience preferences, look, interest and level of knowledge can help create a document that resonates. Is that word clear to you guys? We need the documents to resonate with people. The tone should resonate with people that belongs to that audience. Similarly, defining the document's purpose, the objective, convince, influence, inform, communicate the product's benefits, as Sudarat said, well done. So similarly, defining the document's purpose helps to clarify the scope and objectives of it. All right, but let's talk about an example. Let's talk about an example of how we determine the audience, the purpose, and so on. So what is the example? A marketing executive may need to write a product brief for a new line of skincare products. Right, so that is the situation. Someone that is a marketing executive needs to write a product brief for a new line of skincare products. The document's audience could be the product's development team, marketing team, and senior management. Of course. Does it make sense? Because look, what we're saying here is that there is someone that is a marketing executive that needs to write a product brief. A product brief is not a product, it's just the idea of what could be a product. Do you understand that? The idea of what could be a product. Who will be reading that idea? That idea that becomes a business document. Of course, the product development team, research and development, the inventors, the creatives, the marketing team, senior management that will be authorizing the development of that new product. The purpose of the document could be to provide an overview of the product line, its features and benefits, which is what Sudarat was saying. What is the target audience of that product? What is the marketing strategy and the financial projection? So this is a good example of what is the audience, what is the purpose and the requirements. All right, point number 2. We need to determine the required format. So selecting the right format, look, selecting the right format, style, and structure can help you to convey the message effectively. I told you, depending on your industry, you need to write a very large business documentation or a very narrow, specific, short business documentation. Example, a communication manager may need to write a crisis communication plan. Crisis, something went really wrong. Someone died. Someone had an accident in the production plant. Or someone got injured while using our product. So the communication manager needs to write a crisis communication plan for us to deal with those situations. The format could be a Word document or a PowerPoint presentation. It also could be a PDF. It also could be a video with subtitles. The style and tone should be professional, empathetic. Of course, has to be empathetic because we are trying to get people across the situation and be empathetic with that situation. The structure should include introduction, situational analysis of that crisis, communication objectives, key messages, stakeholders, channels that will be used, email, I guess, and monitoring. All right. So this is the format. Right. So remember, first is determine the audience, then what is the format, then what is the method of the communication, what is the frequency. Example of this, a social media coordinator may need to write a social media campaign plan. The method of communication could be through a digital platform like Asana, Trello, Slack, HubSpot, Slack. Guys, by the way, Slack, who knows how to use Slack here in this class? Maria, have you used Slack, I guess?
Yes.
Juancho, have you used Slack? Guys,
No.
please explore it, all right? Because it's one of the most effective methods of communication. Please use it, Slack. Let me just write it. So easy, so good to have everybody in the same line, to have everyone informed, all right? So we use software as a method of communication nowadays. If the communication is not in the cloud, it doesn't work. If people need to go to the office to read the communication channel is not adequate, is not ideal. You need to have communication in the cloud. Slack is a really good platform for that. All right. So that is an overview of the class. All right. Now let's move to the second part of this. All right. I already talked about this and the importance of asking questions to management for management to give you a good brief in terms of what you should write. You need to be able to answer questions, to ask questions, to have problem-solving skills. We have already talked about this. I have been talking about Woolworths, and the reason I have been talking about Woolworths is because we will be using Woolworths in this unit as the business case for this lesson. All right? So, I want you guys to work in this business case. All right? This is not a long business case. It's just this. Just going to copy this and I'm going to add it to the chat in case someone doesn't have access to Axcelerate. Give me 1 second. Right, go to the chat, guys. Go to the chat or go to your Accelerate and please read this business case. I will divide the group in 3 small groups. Each group will read the business case and then we are going to discuss this business case with the rest of the students once we finalize with the breakout rooms. So just give me 1 second. Please join your groups and develop that business case. Join your groups, please. Japan, what happened? Tell me.
Sorry, because my Zoom has some problem.
No worries. I will send you to your group now.
Yeah, thank you.
You remember what was your group with who?
For number one, but in my group, we not sure about the topics.
All right. Let me help you. I will help you guys.
Yes.
Join the group. I will help you.
So we have to pretend that we are doing this document. I don't get.
Do you need any help?
So. Oh,
Yeah.
we are having trouble
We-
identifying what we need to do.
Okay, that's okay. That's fine. So we have a company that is called Woolworths. That is what we'll be using as a business case. Now, we are only in this container, this block that is called preparing, planning business documents. We are not yet writing the business document. We are not yet publishing the business document. We are just planning the business document. So is that clear?
Yeah.
Right, because if we don't have that in terms of the framework, it's not going to work. Just planning. We're in the planning component of this class. All right, cool. So the business case is telling us the following. Let me share my screen with you guys. 1 second. Where did it went? Just give me 1 second. All right, I found it. I found it. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Cool. So what it says is, in this unit, we will use Woolworths as a major retail company in Australia as a case study to help you to understand how to plan and write complex documents. That's all. The purpose of this business case is to help you to understand. So the first part is telling us, when planning a complex document for Woolworths, it is important to identify the audience and the requirements of that audience. All right? Understanding the audience preference, interest, and level of knowledge. So we understand that. That is clear. Similarly, defining the document's purpose, which is the objective. When you see the word purpose, please read that as the objective to help to clarify the scope. This information should align with organizational policies and procedures. All right. So that is like the framework of the business case. Now, what do we need to do with that business case? First, we need to determine the format, style, and structure of that document. So is Woolworths a large business or a small business? What do you think?
Large.
Do you think they have like templates to write business documents, or do you think that anyone just can write a business document as they please? What do you think?
I would think that they have templates.
100%. So that is the difference compared to a business that is small, that is new. They may not have these templates. So this is the case study is telling us Woolworths may have specific requirements for the format, the templates, style, the template, structure, the template of that complex document. So that is the first thing that I want you to communicate to the rest of the group. All right. You will say, all right, cool. We are working with a large organization in Australia that is called Woolworths. What we need to understand is the audience and the objectives before we start working on planning the document. All right, that's it. Now that we know who is the audience, which is very general, all right, very general, very broad. So we cannot use technical writing. We cannot use specific articles. All right. So now that we know that, we need to determine the format. And then you will tell people, all right, the format will be a pro forma. The format will be a template, because Woolworths is such a big business, they should have a template for every single thing. All right, cool. Don't worry about the example. The example is if you want to use it. So the first thing is the format. The second thing is what is the method of the communication. So the method that we use the most in business is, what is the communication method that we use the most in business communications? What do you think?
Email.
That's it. Mail is the most used method of communication in a business context. Like, by far. Why? Why email? Why?
It's fast.
Because it's fast,
Professional.
and also because you have a record, guys.
Okay.
That is so important. You have a record that the person received the email. You have a record that the person replied that email. You have a record that the person forwarded that email. You may not have it, but believe me, the IT department, you know what is IT, guys?
Yeah.
What IT stands for?
Mm.
The information technology. IT stands for information technology department. The information technology department has a track of each one of those communications in the server. All right. So that's why we use emails. That's why we use emails in business context, especially in a large corporation like Woolworths. They have an email structure that works pretty well. So the method of communication usually is email, but it could be a report, it could be a presentation, it could be a video. So that's what I want you guys to explain to the group. Look, if we are working for a large corporation, likely the method of communication will be email. But if we are working for a startup, likely the communication will be a meeting, a telephone call. Just want you to use that knowledge. Now, what we do then? We need to find out the categories, how the information will be structured. Usually the information goes introduction, the overview, the body of the document where you have all the data, all the information, and the conclusion, the call to action, what people need to do with that information. People need to follow that order, that new rule from that day on, or starting in 3 weeks or in a month. What is the CTA? We talk about the CTA. What is the call to action? What is the output of that communication? So the structure, don't forget about it. Categories, usually introduction, body, conclusion. Don't forget about that. Introduction, body, conclusion. That's how we humans understand information. That's how we learn. Introduction, body, conclusion. Okay, cool. So that is going to give us this last part, which is the logical sequence and the information. All right. And then we just will have a document that is organized, easy to follow, and effective. What do we need to do with this information? We need to pass it to our manager, to our supervisor for approval. If our manager, if our supervisor is approving this draft, this preparation, then we can start developing the copy. Sorry, actually, if the manager is okay with this brief, with this preparation, then we need to start writing the draft. All right. So the first part is the preparation of it, the planning, then the draft, then the documentation, which will allow us to do the publishing of that document. All right. So this business case is just for you guys to understand more or less how a company like Woolworths will do it. Got it? All right. So I want you guys to explain that to the group. Let me just go back. So I will be closing the groups now.
You're in mute, Santi.
Guys, I worked with one group for this particular business case. It's not like a business case that you need to do something. It's more about understanding the concepts. All right. So I will be using Lorena. Lorena, in a company like Woolworths,
So in a company like Woolworths, we have to know that when they have to communicate something, they will not do it just as someone think that morning, but they will have a format. They will have a specific kind of way in which they want the thing to be communicated. So
stop it there. Stop it there. Thank you. Awesome. Guys, is that clear for everyone? Because what Lorena just told us is in a company like Woolworths, it is very likely, this is what she said, in a company like Woolworths, it is very likely they will have a format, they will have a template for the communications they want to publish. And she said, it is not like someone just arrived to the office and that day they feel like writing with pink color, or they feel like writing with colloquial language, and the next person will write with a serious language, and the next person will write it with a humorous appeal, and the next one with a sex appeal. It's not like that. There is a format, all right? So that is the first thing that Lorena is telling us. And we have to agree with it. Why? Because large corporations, they don't take risk. They have, the reason why they are in the market for 20, 50, 60 years is because they don't take risk with silly, simple things like communications. They have formats, pre-formats and templates. Lorena, what will be the case if we are not working for a large corporation like Woolworths?
Well, generally, you have to know anyway which is the style of communication of your company. So you need to know if you can be a bit more colloquial or formal, at least. You need to be aware of that. And I think asking to the management would be helpful to understand that.
Spot on. So if we are working for a startup, then we need to ask management, all right, we don't have a format, management, hey, look, we don't have a format, we don't have a template. You tell me what should be the style. Should be colloquial, should be humorous, should be serious, should be professional, should be young, all right? Should be technical. Give me the brief. Give me the brief, management. Now, we should start developing those formats anyway, those templates anyway, all right? This is how we help businesses. Guys, remember, my classes are for you to shine, when you have the opportunity to work in marketing. That's what they want. What we want is that when you get the opportunity to work in a business, your manager, your supervisor will tell everyone, look, you know, like Lorena is such a good marketing professional that she should be promoted from assistant to coordinator, from coordinator to manager, from manager to director, right? Because that is the level: assistant, coordinator, manager, director, all right? So how she goes up? By having this level of knowledge, So what is that I want Lorena to do? If she's working for a large corporation, she will be following formats and templates, of course. But she's working for a large corporation, it's good. But if Lorena is not working for a large corporation, if Lorena is working for her own business, or if Lorena is working for a startup, what I want Lorena to do is, look, we don't have templates, we don't have proformas, we don't have brochures, we don't have like basic guidelines how to write business documents. I will start developing those templates. So the next person that has to write a business communication will go to our intranet or will go to our folder where we keep, documentation for this business. We'll open a subfolder that says templates. And then the subfolder will say templates to communicate with customers, templates to communicate with suppliers, templates to communicate with lawyers, templates to communicate if there is a crisis, templates to communicate if that you got the idea. So that's the purpose of this particular business case, is you getting yourself in the shoes of someone working for a large corporation like Woolworths, but at the same time, to get yourself in the shoes of someone working for a startup. Okay, Lorena, so let's continue. So once we have that template, what we need to do? Once we have that format, once we have that style, once we have that structure, what we need to do then?
Then we have to understand in which way we want to communicate. So we generally use emails because it's a very fast kind of communication, but also because you keep trace of what has been communicated, and you can understand if it's been reached from your audience, and you keep record of the answers and everything.
How good is that? All right, everybody pay attention to what Lorena is saying, please. All right, so Lorena told us first, we need to have the structure, the format, the style, the template, how we do it. Good, that is clear. But then what is the method of communication? This is what Lorena is telling us. And what Lorena is telling us is usually the most used method of communication is email. In business is email. Not with friends. You call your friends, you text your friends, you visit your friends. But in business relationships, in business interactions, we need to be very careful, and we need to have a record of the communication. She said it, the record. Why the record? Because that could be used if something goes wrong. Oh, I never heard about that policy. Oh, I never heard that starting next Friday, we need to start at 8 a.m., not at 9 a.m. in the morning. Yes, we send you an email, and our IT department has a record that you open that email. Lorena, IT, what the IT department does, what IT stands for, please.
Information technology.
Great. So the information technology department has the records of those communications. That is why in a formal business environment, in a large corporation business environment, we use emails. So you have something like Santi at woolworths.com.au. You don't have like Santi at Gmail because it's corporate. Now, Lorena, what if we are working for a small business, for a startup, and we don't have this IT structure? What is the normal method of communication?
Well, it could be always email, and they are anyway saved on the cloud, I think. Or you can use apps as well.
Right. Example of apps, please.
Like you were telling before, I don't remember the name.
No worries. You have done really well, because you mentioned the word app, and that's what really matters. All right. So if we are working for a large corporation, we use the corporate email. Got it. If we are working in a startup environment, we may not have yet the corporate email because it's expensive. That's the truth. So we still may use Hotmail. Gmail. It's not ideal. I don't want you guys to use Gmail, to be honest. But the reality is that a lot of people still use Gmail. So let's just get over that obstacle. How we solve it? By using apps. But I need you guys to start using these apps. The most common one is called Asana. I'm going to write it in the chat. It's really, really good, Asana. All right. Companies use Asana to communicate memos, to communicate one instructions, to communicate policies, to communicate everything that has to be said. Asana, really good. Another one that is used is Trello for companies to communicate how projects are advancing. Another one is called Monday. And the one that we discussed in the class is Slack. Slack is becoming so popular. Like the interface is so user-friendly and it's becoming so popular. It's good. You know, I am not selling any platform here, but I just want you guys to start using these platforms. All these platforms, they are connected. They are connected to the cloud. What is the benefit? That you can access information 24/7, regardless of location, regardless of the time of the day. And that is gold. What I don't want you guys to think or to do is, oh, for me to know what is going on, I need to go to my office tomorrow. Or for me to know what is going on, I need to go to my computer, my desktop in my office. No. For me to know what is going on, I go to my phone and I have information in the cloud. All right. Lorena, all right. So we have goals. We have done. First, we need to determine the format. Then we need to establish the method of the communication, which usually is email. If it's not email, it could be an application. All right. And then what we need to do for this planning phase, then what we need to do.
Then we have to give a structure to the document. So we need to create an introduction, a body of the communication. So what do I need to say? And then we have to finish with conclusion and the call to action.
That's amazing. So well, so good. This introduction is the overview, though. All right. Think about the, you know, the managers, the executives, the directors, they will not read the entire, they will read the introduction and that's it. So the introduction is like a short story about the entire document. So we need to become really good professionals at writing short stories, micro storytelling. Don't forget about it. And that overview is what really matters. You know, have you noticed that sometimes when, not now because people don't read newspapers anymore, but our grandparents, when they bought the newspaper, they were just skimming the newspaper and reading the titles. And with that, they were informed. And if they were so interested, then they read the body. So that's what I mean. The overview has to be very clear, very punchy, very, very down to earth. And it has to be a micro story. The body is where you have all the data, all the proofs, all the technical information, all what you don't want to read unless you really have to. And the conclusion, well done, Rebecca, is what will tell us, all right, this is what we did, why we did it, how we did it, and what is that you need to do with this information. Thank you, Rebecca. That call to action, critical here. Because the only reason we write business documents is not for people to have a good time, for people to kill time. No, the only reason we write business documents is for people that is reading those business documents to do something that is written there, to follow an instruction, to do something or to avoid doing something. All right, fantastic, fantastic. That's it. Guys, that's it. That's it for this planning phase. Don't forget it. Audience, objective, method of communication, audience, objective, format, style, structure, method of communication, overview, structure, body, conclusion, call to action. More or less. You don't need to follow this 100% as I just say it. It's too much anyway. But if you can understand what I'm saying now, it's likely that next time that you write a business document, you will do it better. All right? So let's have the first break, 10 minutes. After the break, we are not going to be talking anymore about planning. We will be talking about how to write it. Then we do the second break. And after the second break, we don't talk anymore about how to write it. We talk about how to publish it. And that is the end of the class. And then our next class, coming week, we assess if you have the knowledge or not. All right? Enjoy the break. I will see you in 10 minutes, guys. Rebecca, spot on. Thank you for your participation. Hey, guys, 10 minutes has been passed. So let's continue, please. Start connecting your cameras. Now, we're going to the second part of the class, which is draft the document. All right? All right, that's what we're going to do. So, I'm going to show you something in your lesson in Axcelerate, please. This at the left of your screen, you will see what are the components of the class. We have done this first, which is planning complex documents. This is done. You know, audience, format, method of communication, and the structure and overview. We have done this already, all right? So the first part done. The second part, draft complex document, is what we are going to do now, all right? So click on that, click number 5. So let's have a look at that. Writing often feels demanding and difficult because you are doing two seemingly contradictory things. Creating and containing. Creating information and containing that information in a way that is digestible by people. All right, that's why we have discussed it before that synthesis is the key to effective communications. When you have no idea what to write about, pre-writing could help you to get the right ideas. All right, so what this is telling us is, cool, you need to write, but you will not be writing the final document at once. You will be preparing a draft. And that draft may be the last one, okay, but it may not be the last one. So practice is what will give you the skills and knowledge that you need in order to be very efficient with your writing. Some people, when they are really good at it, they have the idea, the overview, the brief, and straight away they have the final document. But until we get to that point, to that level of expertise, we need to feel confident and okay doing drafting. Brainstorming, free writing, and clustering information will help us to be good at this. So what is brainstorming? Brainstorming is getting key ideas. What I want you guys to understand with the drafting is that usually we need three key ideas. 3 key ideas, usually. So, example, if we are writing about a new method of transportation, so we are writing a business plan about a new method of transportation in a particular city. There will be a new train that will be communicating Sydney and Melbourne, all right? Just to give you a context, we are working for the government. We need to write a document that will be explaining people why having a train connecting Melbourne and Sydney would be such a good idea. You got the context? We don't have that in Australia yet. If you want to go from Melbourne to Sydney, you need to take a plane or you need to use your car, but there is not a train yet. So we need to write about the benefits, about why it will be good for us to have that train. We have done everything. We have prepared the documentation. We have found what is the audience. We have found what is the right method, and so on and so on. Everything that we discussed before. Now we need to prepare the draft. What is the key? The key is to find 3 key ideas that you will be exploiting in that drafting. So, if we are writing about that new communication, that new transportation method, what could be 3 good key ideas? Give me one, please. Why we need to have a train between Melbourne and Sydney? Give me 3 reasons, 3 ideas that we could use in that document. Guys, please, each one of you, give me one idea. Why having a transportation method between Sydney and Melbourne could be a good project for Australia? Give me 3 ideas.
So you will reduce the employment of cars and reduce pollution.
Good. So idea 1, good for them.
It could increase tourism between the 2 cities.
All right. So idea 1, good for the environment. Idea 2, increase tourism. So yeah, man, because someone can go to Melbourne and they will take a train that will take 3-4 hours, and that will be really good for Sydney too. And the other way around as well. If someone goes to Sydney, they can go to Melbourne because they will be there for a fraction of the cost in 3-4 hours. Fantastic. So increase tourism between the 2 cities. All right, so we have good for the environment. Imagine that people will not be using cars. People will be massively commuting using just one method of transportation, in this case, the train. The second one, increased tourism. Another idea, please. Come on, Juan. Give me a hand. Orhan, give me a hand.
Okay, the environment, transportation, tourism. Art would be
good for the arts. It's good for the scene between the cities. All right, cool. So another idea, increase access to art. All right, good. Another one, please. Another one. Perhaps the most important. Remember what I told you about the macro. What is that you always have to have in top of your mind when we do marketing? What is that? What is the macro? We are what kind of people? We are business people, yeah? Always, please, always think about business. Always. So another idea would be, this is good for entrepreneurs, business people, to get customers. Cities. This is good for all guys. Remember, every time business. So this is good for entrepreneurs and business people to get customers and accounting. It's true, man. Because if you are in Sydney, you take this train and you are in 4 hours in Melbourne, and you can be back the same day for a fraction of the cost it will be if you take a plane, and for a fraction of the environmental cost that will be if you take your car. So, all right. So this is what we need to do here in the second part of the class. We need to get ideas for us to start drafting that document, but impossible to get the ideas if you don't get at least three keywords, key ideas, keywords. Impossible. Believe me, guys, I've been working on this for a while. If you want to write a business document, you have to prepare yourself to produce at least 3 or 4 key ideas. And this is not written in books, all right? Santi, why 3? Why not 2? Why not 4? I'm telling you, man, my experience, you have to be ready to produce 3 ideas, and then you develop those 3 ideas in the document. All right? All right? So this is what we did. All right. Now let's talk about a different scenario. We're not talking about the Sydney Melbourne train anymore. Let's talk about another scenario. This scenario will be, all right, we are working for a food company that is producing food that will not need refrigeration for that food to be good, for that food to maintain its natural qualities. So this food does not need refrigeration. And we need to write a business document that will explain what are the benefits of a product that does not need refrigeration. So idea number 1, please.
You can storage it for a long time.
Beautiful. And no need of electricity, no need of a fridge. Fantastic. Idea number 2, please.
The quality, to preserve the quality.
Explain yourself.
You mean something that can carry frozen food?
All right. Yeah. So the quality of the food. That will be number 2. All right. I am not sure though about that one, because actually the quality may be affected by having something that could last, months without having a refrigeration kind of help. Probably additives and things like that. But anyway, that's not the point. This is not about if we are right or wrong. It's about producing ideas. Idea number 3, please.
It's easy to transport.
Really good. Easy to transport, because if you don't need refrigeration, you can send that food using any normal truck. But if otherwise, you need a truck that has a container that has refrigeration, which is more expensive, much more expensive than a normal container. So good one. So we need to get used to this. Please, someone give me something, tell me something, tell me anything, any plan, any idea, and I will give you 3 keywords. Anyone, tell me about any topic. You give me the topic now, I give you the answers.
Live exporting. You were talking about that the other day, like livestock exporting, like live animals exporting.
All right, cool. So why we shouldn't export live animals? We shouldn't export live animals. First, because we don't know how the animals will be killed and processed in the port of destiny. Number 2, because our country has better facilities and better and more human processes to produce, to kill the animal. Number 3, because we could add value to the production chain by, I don't know, preparing the food in a way it will be easier for consumers at the port of destiny to prepare. All right, 3 ideas quickly. Another idea, another concept, another project quickly.
Catering company.
A catering company is such a good business because a catering company will have always, number one, a market that is open. Every day of the year, people celebrate birthdays. Every day of the year, people celebrate weddings. Every day of the year, people will need a catering company. Second reason why a catering company is such a good business, because in a country like Australia, catering companies are popular. There are a lot of hotels, there are a lot of universities, there are a lot of businesses that will always demand the service of catering business. Reason number 3, there is a lot of universities and TAFEs in Australia that prepare students to work in the hospitality industry. Well, what I just want you guys to understand from this exercise is that you need to be ready to always give 3 reasons. Always 3 reasons. Always, that's it. 3 reasons. But you need to just like an athlete will do, you need to prepare for this. So if we want to talk about football, why football is such a good sport? Because you practice every day and that will make you fit. It's also a good sport because you can play with friends and other community members. And it's also a good sport because even though there is physical contact, usually the physical contact is not that detrimental to your health like other contact sports. 3 reasons, quickly, it's something that I can do because I am a teacher, because I am a speaker, and I have been preparing myself to do this all my life. But you need to prepare yourself now, after this unit, to draft documents. And then, Santi, how I draft documents? I gave you the recipe. The recipe is always produce 3 keywords, 3 key ideas of that very topic, and then develop those key ideas. That will give you the body that we were talking before. Remember the body? We were talking about the structure, introduction first, then the body, and then the conclusion with the CTA. Those 3 ideas will give you the body, will give you the food, the meat that you need for that body. All right, cool. All right, that is the second part of the class. Let's see what else we need to complete there, and then we move on. All right. So first, we need to confirm the information is cohesive, so it's connected. Obviously, the key ideas need to be connected, as we just did before. Then we need to draft the document. We did brainstorming. We did free writing. We did clustering. We did outlining. All of these are techniques for you to develop those 3 keywords or 3 key ideas. But not this one. We need to identify the gaps. All right, cool. So once we have that draft, we need to identify the gaps for us to find the data that will be fulfilling those gaps. We need to find the gaps in information. We need to find the gaps in knowledge. And we need to collect additional information that will be important for that draft. All right, so we can do a gap analysis before we do the publishing. All right, so this is how we do the drafting. This is how we do the drafting. So let me check something, 1 second. Okay. All right, and the final part of the class is to finalize the document. All right, I will not be doing a break because we just did a break not long ago. Let's move straight away to the last part of the class. So what is the last part of the class? Is to finalize and publish the document. All right, finalize and publish the document. So let's have a look. What is that we need to do? Before we publish, we need to review the draft. and confirm. Once again, we need to confirm the document purpose. Are we fulfilling the purpose, the objective of this document in this draft? Yes or no? Are there requirements of the document explicitly written in this document? Yes or no? Are we following the policies of the company in this document? Yes or no? All right. So we have to review that draft. That is the step number one. We need to find those gaps in information. All right. Step number two, we need to check the grammar, the spelling, the style, the punctuation, the accuracy of that information that we are providing. All right. So very important to do this. There is a software that I use for this very purpose. And I don't know if you are familiar with that software, but it's called Grammarly. Have you guys used Grammarly?
Yes.
Mauricio, have you used Grammarly?
Yes.
Anyone, what about you, Lorena? Have you used Grammarly?
No.
Use it. It's going to change your life. Just change your life. You know, it's amazing what Grammarly does. I love it. I love it. It helps you to be better writer. Your grammar, your punctuation, your style. It's just such a good software. There is a paid version that will give you more analysis of what you write, and there is a free version. I use the paid version because I have to write a lot of emails and stuff. But you don't need to use the paid version. Use the free version, but please install it in your Google or Safari for you to have always Grammarly. You also can add Grammarly to your phone. So if you are writing an email from your phone or a text message, it will check how you write and it will make you improve a lot. So please start using that kind of technology like Grammarly, right? So that is the step number two. You know, I will show you a little bit how it works. So what is the point of telling you without showing you? Just give me 1 second. All right. So this is my Grammarly. You know, I have a lot of documents here. It's premium. I pay for that. You don't need, can you see my screen, by the way? I first need to ask. All right. So my Grammarly, I can write a new document, you know. So I can say, I can write here something like, the purpose. Yeah, sorry. I'm just going to start again. The purpose. I just wrote something quickly, no thinking, nothing. All right. But what Grammarly is telling me, all right, is that there are 18 suggestions to this. So if I accept all these suggestions, look what happened. Boom. Seconds. In seconds, I have this fixed. But this is telling me, all right, it looks good, you know, but also it's giving me a little bit of analysis what could be fixed. And if I click on the words that are red, also it will tell me, all right, this could be This is what I want to show you. You see this rephrase? The software is telling me I can rewrite this to you for you, so it looks, sounds much better than it is now. So look, I'm just going to click it and you will see how it changes. You see? All right, beautiful. Now, look, I have a perfect copy. Perfect. I will send it to you. No mistakes, of course, could be improved, but this in microseconds. But this is how technology may help you to be a better writer. Grammarly has to be used by all of us. If English is our second language, not using Grammarly doesn't make any sense, especially when you can have the free version, all right? So that's for the second part of the class. Now let's go to the last part of the class. And with that, we finish, guys. I call the attendance and then we can finalize the class. Second, I lost my class. All right, got it. All right, so step number 1, review the draft. Step number 2, check grammar spelling. Step number 3, don't forget about this one, eh? You need to confirm the draft and it has to be approved by management. Has to be approved, has to be. Someone needs to sign it, all right? And always, this needs to be done because you may have a mistake. The more people read the document, the less likely you will have a mistake on it. Step number 4, you need to review and you need to make the corrections and the amendments before you have the final copy. Step number 5, now you do the design. Now you add the logo. Guys, don't forget that these steps will be part of the observation assessment next class and the online quiz. So you need to write them down or something because this is what really matters for our next class. All right. Let me see. Step number 6. You need to check the documents and confirm that all requirements are met. And if all requirements are met, then you publish. Then you publish. If all requirements are met, then you publish. All right. So let's call it a day. First, you need to prepare the document. What is the audience? What is the methodology? What is the structure? What is the method of communication? What is the call to action? All right. Second, we draft the document. How we draft the document? By getting ideas, usually 3 key ideas that we will develop in that document. And we develop that draft. Once we have that draft, we need to follow those steps that I explained to you for you to bulletproof that document before you publish it. Examples of business document. The most important business document is the business plan. Then you have policies and procedures. Then you have marketing communications. Then you have emails and any other commercial information. Then you have advertising and promotional campaigns. They are business documents. And finally, you have memos, posters, and flyers. All of them together are
Santi,
business.
sorry, could you repeat that?
All right. So in terms of the hierarchies, the most important business document ever is the business plan. There is no more important business document than the business plan. Why? Because the business plan will tell the company what to do for a period of time, usually 1 year. And directors, managers, and employees will follow somehow that business plan. So the person that is writing the business plan and the person that is approving that business plan, they need to know what on earth they are doing, because the company depends on them. So that is the most important business document. The second most important business document is the policies of the company and the procedures. Each department, they have a policy and procedure. The human resources department, policies and procedures. The marketing and communication department, policies and procedures. The maintenance, policies and procedures. The operational, policies and procedures. Why? Because companies need to have policies, what you can do, what you cannot do, and how you do it, which is the procedure. Other companies call these work instructions. I want you to remember the word work instructions. I will write it in the chat. Work instructions. Why work instructions are important? Because that is how we do things. It's like the recipe. You know, like if you work in McDonald's, then you will see that they have like a poster and you will find graphically how to assemble the hamburger. What is the order? And people need to follow that order. It's not like tomorrow somebody goes and say, you know what? I love cheese and I'm going to put more cheese in the hamburger. It's because I love cheese. Or you know what? I would like to do the hamburgers today in a different order. I'm going to do the patty second and then the lettuce, whatever. No, we don't do that. So for us to avoid that situation, for us to avoid that people do what they want, we need to tell people, we follow procedures here that are part of, they are a component of X or Y policy. Always ask for these more instructions. When you are working for a company and you are starting in a new company, you are getting trained to develop yourself in that company to perform a task. Always ask, hey, show me what is the work instruction. Especially in Australia, guys, this is so important. Australians love work instructions. They love it. Of course, if there is a small company and you don't have the work instruction, now you have an opportunity to shine, to say, we don't have the work instruction, I will develop the work instruction, I will get it approved by management, I'm going to publish it, every person will be using this work instruction from now on, and this will be the version 1 of the work instruction. If the work instruction gets updated, so we don't need to do 50 steps anymore, we need to do 30, because there is a new technology that is saving us 20 steps, then we will have the version 2, and so on. And this is how companies get better. This is how companies survive, by having work instructions. So don't forget, business plans first, work instructions and policies and procedures number 2, then everything that is related to marketing communications. Marketing communications, why? Because if you say something that is wrong, if you say a price that is incorrect, if you inform people about product benefits that are not real, you will be accountable for that, and the company will be accountable and likely will have to pay fees. Did you know what happened to Volkswagen in 2015? Anybody knows what happened to Volkswagen in 2015 with the emissions, with the Golf vehicles? And nobody knows that, yeah?
I think they declared a different amount of emission than what was real.
Oh my God, and that was really, really bad for that company, because the information they provided was not accurate with the real emissions. And they had to recall, and the fine, that they had to pay for it was billionaire, like was crazy high, guys. So that's why this is serious, because you need to write business documents that are real and are supported by evidence. Because if we don't do that, we will be accountable. A lawyer, a customer that is being represented by a lawyer will take advantage of we doing the wrong business document. So that's why I'm telling you, business plan first, policies and procedures, marketing communications, communication of crisis, number 4. How you manage crisis, how you manage when something goes wrong, how you manage lobbies, how you manage politicians, how you manage the people, the community. for they to follow to support your projects, what you're doing in the company. Number 5, email communications and memos. What is that you write to your clients, to your customers using email communications? Number 6, poster, flyers, and everything that is called marketing collaterals. So marketing collaterals is the last bastion of communications. It's collateral to the core. That's why it's called collateral. And even though they are not as relevant as business plans, policies, and procedures, and so on, they are still very important. And we need to keep an eye on them. All right? So keep that in mind, guys. Be ready. I want you to practice. The best way to start practicing this is if you are already working, ask for the work instructions. If they don't have the work instructions, develop the new ones. If everything is fine with the work instructions, have a look at the website, how the copy of the website could be improved to be more efficient, to have better ranking using search engine optimization techniques. Another way you can practice this, have a look at the brochures of your business, how that can be improved, how the story that you are sharing with your audience could be improved. Don't forget about synthesis. And don't forget about technology to make the work easier for you when it comes to checking spelling, grammar, and punctuation. That is all. Simple class, but very important. Next class, we will be evaluating what we learned today. All right? Any question, guys, before we finish the lesson? Read the lesson again, prepare for the next class. The next class is an observation assessment. Remember, it will be recorded. I will be asking questions as I advance, and we will be doing the online quiz. That will be our last class for some of you, especially for Maria. Thank you so much. So I hope, Maria, that you take advantage of this last class to shine. And I will see you next class. Everyone, Mauricio, thank you for coming. Sudarat, everybody else. Yeah, sorry, I just need to call the attendance quickly. Don't go anywhere. 1 second. I call the attendance and then we can call it a day. Just stay with me 1 second. I call the attendance and then we can leave. Okay, so Orhan, you hear market. Beautiful. Fernando. Okay, Fernando is here. Fernando, next time, camera on, all right? That is important for me, man.
Yes, Santi.
Orhan, everybody. Maria is here too.
I think I'm not marked. I'm like in neutral.
What is your name, my friend?
Juan Gonzalez.
Let me help
Yeah.
you. Let me find you.
It's just, yeah, just there. There. Down.
This one?
No, down.
Got it, got it. All right. Anybody else?
Me?
Let's see
Oh,
the next.
okay, yeah.
Let's see the next one. Carla, you there? Yeah. Yeah, cool. You mark it now. Punjapun.
Me, Mauricio.
Mauricio Dan. Right, guys. If you have been marked, you can go now. Thank you. Maria, you have been marked?
Santi. See ya.
Yes. Thank you, Santi.
Hey, Maria, see you next class.
You.
Thank you.
Lorena,
I don't get if am I marked?
Lorena, let me have a look. I don't know. Lorena, yes, you're marked. All good. Lorena, thank you for your participation today.
Thank you.
Carla, Dan, Mauricio, marked. No worries. All good. All good. Kunjapun, are you here?
Here, I'm here.
Help me find your name, please.
K-U-N.
Ah, find it. You're marked.
Okay.
No worries. All good.
Thank you. See you next class.
See you next Friday.
Santi?
Carla?
How can I contact you to have a meeting for the observation?
One-to-one meeting, no problem. I have done like 12 meetings this week. So
Okay.
what you need to do, I don't have any meeting up until next Monday. I
Okay.
have meetings even on Sundays, but if you want a meeting on Monday, you need to write me an email quickly, santi@santivela.com. Let me send you the email.
Santi@santivela.com.
Yeah. It's in the chat now.
Okay.
All right, cool. Thank you, guys. Mauro, thank you for coming. I will see you Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carla.
Santi, nada más. Well, I saw your message that you could do the one-on-one session on Sunday.
Is that possible for you?
Yeah, I just want to confirm what time is best for you.
Anytime. Sunday is my day off, so I don't have any problem on Sunday. Just want to finish with you.
Okay. Okay,
So
perfect.
I will be connected in LinkedIn. Just send me a message and then we connect straight away.
Great. Awesome. I appreciate it.
No worries, my friend. Thank you for coming. See you Sunday.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.